Hello, good evening, and welcome to Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, GWEL PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority-GPHA. And our media partner on this journey of a lifetime is the Business and Financial Times. Now, if you want to have a grasp of all that transpired on the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to see all that happened here tonight on the show. We are streaming live on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are live at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Still on Facebook, we are streaming live at Port of Tema. And on YouTube, we are live at Iron Port Ghana. Iron Port Ghana. Now we shall be getting interactive with you as usual, and so all you have to do is sit back, relax, grab your phones, and send us your messages and comments via our dedicated WhatsApp line, which is 0559019177, 0559019177. Now, when the time is ripe and I pick signals from the production team, we shall activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. My name is Kennedy Mona. We are going for a quick break. When we return, we'll continue the show. Please stay with us.
Guys, now I'm tired. I'll go on a date with whoever gets here first.
Princess, really?
Okay, I come.
Shut up!
Mame,
Boss, fill my tank with Super XP Raw 95.
Fill up with Super XP Raw 95 and Diesel XP high performance products from GWEL.
Sorry, Tony got here first, so I'm stepping with him.
Oh, cut him.
Hey, go for mommy.
Choose Super XP Raw 95 and Diesel XP for an energizing driving experience. Always go for GWEL Super XP Raw 95. GWEL, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is, you still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Suddenly my goods are on the high seas covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor,
I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance
for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes.
Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302 246 319 or 0243 690 492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
All right, so welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at happenings in the port and shipping industry in the course of the week. And indeed, faraway Dubai, where the COP28 conference, that's for the year 2023, is ongoing. Ghana had the privilege of launching Ghana's electric vehicle, that's EV policy. And this was done by His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo over there in Dubai. Plus the fact that medium, small, and micro enterprises have also been encouraged to prepare in the era of Africa Continental Free Trade. We'll tell you what we know about that. And then the Ghana Shippers Authority, together with the Bank of Ghana, also organized a sensitization workshop for exporters on the letter of commitment requirement. These and more for your enjoyment. Please take a look.
As part of efforts to combat climate change, government has launched Ghana's electric vehicle policy at the ongoing COP28 in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. The policy, which was launched by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, details strategies Ghana is taking to encourage the importation and use of electric vehicles in the country. The president noted government's determination to contribute its quota to the fight against climate change.
Ghana's emissions are expected to rise from 28 million tons of CO2 equivalent in 2021 to some 140 million tons in 2050, with the transport sector accounting for the biggest increase. This will be driven mainly by population growth, increased GDP per capita, and vehicle ownership. I'm confident we can reverse this trend if significant actions are taken to transition with cleaner electric vehicles, promising to be game changers in this process.
The Minister for Transport, Kweku Ofori-Siama, on his part, gave some insight into the workings of the document.
Given that several institutions will be involved in implementing this policy, the Ministry will establish a unit to coordinate the policy implementation as well as collaborate with other sector representatives and institutions to address cross-cutting issues. A critical area requiring attention is manpower development, particularly for artisans and garages familiar with servicing ICE's vehicles. Ultimately, collaboration and partnership will be key in ensuring that the needed technical expertise are acquired to ensure a smooth transition.
The Minister for Energy, Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, also assured of his ministry's commitment to ensuring the success of the policy.
We are ready for the electric vehicle and e-mobility evolution. With an electricity access rate, Mr. President, of 88.85%, the future of electric vehicles on a national scale is possible. Thus, every region and district of the country should be able to participate in this budding industry.
Member of Parliament for Tema West, Carlos Ahenkra, has encouraged micro, small and medium-sized enterprises to familiarize themselves with the Ghana Enterprises Agency and the Ghana Export Promotion Authority as they harbor export ambitions for the future. He said these institutions have been empowered by the state to help ready local startups and small enterprises for effective trade beyond the shores of Ghana.
For them to survive beyond an event like this, you need to speak to the experts, which is the GA. And GA, I believe, has a department that support the establishment and, of course, the enhancement of MSME programs. Beyond them, if anybody wants to also go beyond the shores of Ghana and export, the GEPA is the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, and they are ever ready, ever prepared to show you where to market your goods. Let's say you produce pepper from your garden, from your farm, and once you harvest, you don't even know where to market the pepper. You have to go to a publisher or somewhere where somebody will tell you how much they want to pay you. The Ghana Export Promotion Authority has that opportunity to identify, we call it matchmaking, to identify somebody outside who patronizes such products for you to be able to export your product. And this is the time that I will entreat people who produce yagos here to speak to them and see how they can get it beyond the shores of Ghana and make more money from their production.
Carlos Ahenkra was speaking on the sidelines of the Maiden Made in Ghana Trade Fair, an exhibition of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Tema, where a number of micro, small and medium-sized enterprises were given the opportunity to showcase their Ghana-made products and services. It was done in collaboration with Media General and the Tema Metropolitan Assembly. The chairman of the Tema branch of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Michael Kabute Caesar, on his part, detailed the initiatives his outfit is undertaking to encourage exports.
We are making that awareness to members, who have export intentions and steps to take to really taking advantage of this bigger market. Now, the challenges that the SMEs importantly have is few of certifications and things like that. So we have given them boxes to tick, for things they need to get them ready, themselves ready for, because you don't just jump onto export when you are not export ready. So we are gradually educating them through various forum and fora, workshop, as to what they ought to do in getting themselves ready to take advantage of this bigger market. Some we are directing even to go to export school organized by GPHA.
The Ghana Shippers Authority, in collaboration with the Bank of Ghana, has organized a sensitization workshop on the Bank of Ghana Letter of Commitment requirement for the repatriation of export proceeds. The letter of commitment is required before export shipments are approved to exit Ghana's ports and borders. Since its introduction in 2016, the letter of commitment requirement has generated tremendous interest, mainly due to the sanctions associated with non-conformity as a result of the lack of awareness on the part of exporters. Speaking at the program, the Tema branch manager for the Ghana Shippers Authority, Monica Josiah, explained that the workshop was aimed at addressing the complaints and concerns of exporters and customs house agents with regards to the non-conformity.
We also want to use the documents that will come out of the sensitization workshop as a working document to help us. All the questions that have come up, we are going to look at them and see whether something could be done to make the LOC more friendly or better suited to the transactions of exporters.
The Deputy Director of Foreign Banking Operations at the Bank of Ghana, Eric Kweku Hammond, indicated that the letter of commitment requirement is not meant to stifle the business of exporters, but to ensure that export proceeds meant for the state are duly accounted for.
For Bank of Ghana, when it comes to our monitoring and then ensuring repatriation of the export proceeds, at our end on daily basis, we are also able to generate, exports, from all exporters. So at any point in time, we know how much Company A has exported.
The operations manager at Ghana Link Network Services, Lieutenant Bafo Insua, averred that ICOMS is committed to facilitating customs procedures for the exporters and took them through what is expected of them.
Without the LOC together with the customs declarations, you cannot send your goods abroad, whether by road, air or sea. Right. So first of all, you put your documents together because you need an invoice. Whatever item that you're shipping, you have to prepare an invoice for that. Okay, so you can also, out of the invoice, prepare a packing list because these are two documents that you need for your customs declaration processes.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has demonstrated over the years its human and technical capabilities in handling a wide range of cargo types for import, export, transit and transshipment. Earlier this week, the Port of Tema successfully turned around 7 train wagons received from Japan for some minor maintenance work and onward transshipment to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Deputy Logistics Manager at the Port of Tema, Engineer Prince AEC, indicated that the Port of Tema was selected because it was befitting of the operation. He said the port is ever ready to handle such unconventional cargo types.
If I should just try to recall, 2020 we handled a helicopter which was disassembled and also exported to, I think, was into the Australians. This year we did the same thing again. We did 2 helicopters at that was at Tema 2 that we also disassembled, we packaged and stored to Australia. And this time we are doing coaches at Transhipped. It's trying to tell us that we, with the expertise that we have, we are proof for any challenge that the client would like to put on us, and also try to support their operations in the industry of shipping.
Country manager for Omar Logistics Ghana, Samir Sheet, whose company served as the logistics agent for the shipment, said the decision to transship through the port of Tema has paid off.
I've personally been through the entire hierarchy. We started with the director of port, the GM, the stevedore manager, the workshop manager, the engineering team, the stevedoring team. So a project of this magnitude requires everybody to be invested, and I think that's the word I can use. You know, people doing their jobs is one thing, but also feeling invested in making the project a success. This is the feeling I got, and the support has been incredible from everybody involved.
The Port of Takoradi has donated assorted items towards ensuring a joyous Christmas celebration by pupils of the Special Needs School in Esipon in the Secondary Takoradi metropolis. The items included bags of rice, gallons of cooking oil, cartons of chicken, beverages, biscuits, gari, sachet water, toilet tissue, and sanitary pads, among others. The donation forms part of GPHA's corporate social responsibilities 3 planks of education, health, and environment. The marketing and public affairs manager at the Port of Takoradi, Dr. Kingsley Nchiboziakon, recounted that the donation had become a tradition where the management and staff of the port would contribute their widow's mite to the pupils of the school at the end of the year to show their love for them.
Director now, Mr. Peter Amubediako, any management, any staff of Port of Takoradi, Ekase Afiasu, Yadineme Emamu, Ewo Eja, any Oba, any Sunsun Kunkundimu. Amen.
The head of the Twin Cities Special Needs School, Madam Crescentia Ifwa Bilson, who received the donation on behalf of the school's management, expressed their appreciation to the management and staff of GPHA. She pledged to use the items for the intended purpose of ensuring an inclusive and joyous Christmas for the school's special needs children.
All right, so say kudos to the management of the Port of Takoradi for such a wonderful donation and putting smiles on the faces of these unfortunate ones. Indeed, we are now going to take a look at happenings in the port and shipping industry on the international stage.
Japanese shipping company Mystery OSK Lines and UAE-based ports and logistics giant DP World have signed a memorandum of understanding to explore opportunities to enhance auto logistics capabilities at Jebel Ali Port and reduce carbon emissions in port and maritime applications in the UAE and beyond. As part of this agreement, the companies will conduct feasibility studies for business opportunities related to stocking, enhancing, and strategically redistributing fully assembled cars through Jebel Ali Port. The Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore, Port of Los Angeles, and Port of Long Beach have unveiled a partnership strategy for a green and digital shipping corridor across the Pacific Ocean. The partners revealed their plans at the 28th United Nations Climate Change Conference on December 6. The release of the partnership strategy follows the signing of a memorandum of understanding by the Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore, Port of Los Angeles, and Port of Long Beach during the Singapore Maritime Week in April 2023. The MOU formalized the partnership, which is supported by C40 cities, with the aim of establishing a green and digital shipping corridor connecting the 3 global hub ports. A gantry crane is a type of crane used to load and unload container ships. It lifts objects with a hoist and can move horizontally on a rail or pair of rails.
The word or phrase of the day has been fashioned to bring you up to speed with the terminologies and jargons we use in the shipping industry, and today's word was gantry crane. We're now zooming into our discussion proper tonight, and tonight we're taking a look at the import restriction bill that was being developed by the Ministry of Trade. Indeed, last week it was supposed, the LI was supposed to be laid in Parliament, and if it was laid, within 21 days, it would have, grown into a law. We would have seen the restriction of some imports, including rice, cement, margarine, and sugar, among others. When the announcement came, there were some groups that, were up in arms against it because they thought that it wasn't good for our country. One particular group that was very vociferous in opposing this particular policy was the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, and then the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana. On the other hand, we also had the Association of Ghana Industries, supporting this particular policy. Now, the main objective, according to the Minister for Trade, was to, as it were, bring some stability and bolster the national currency, that's the Ghana cedi, and also to, as it were, ensure the growth of local industry. Now, we're taking a look at happenings right after this particular bill was, as it were, suspended. We've been told that it wasn't the fact that the IMF, because we were told that the IMF was very clear and categorical with government in some pronouncements that they shouldn't go there. People thought that it was briefing on the neck of government, and that's why they've had to recoil and then perhaps go back to the drawing board and come back. And the Minister for Information, the Honorable Kojo Oponkroma, also stated that the Akufo-Addo-led government is a listening government, and they've heard the cries of the people, and they want to go back to the drawing table and do a good job, a thorough job, do broader and wider consultations before they come back with it. Any which way, we have tonight in the studios Dr. Joseph Abin, who is the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, in the studios. We'll also be joined via Zoom by the executive chairman. Okay, we are told that we have Reverend John Awuni, who is the executive chairman of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, also on the line. These are the two gentlemen we will be having the discussions with. We reached out to the Deputy Finance Minister, Deputy Trade Minister, I beg your pardon, the Honorable Stephen Amwa, to join us, and he did promise, but I think last minute we were not able to make contact with him. The team will try as much as possible to raise him on the line if we get him, and then he can also join the discussion. So let me say a big welcome to Dr. Obeng, who is no stranger to Iron Port. Good evening, Doc, and Merry Christmas in advance.
Good evening, sir.
And thank you very much for obliging us. Also, let me say good evening to Reverend John Awuni as well. Good evening, sir, if you can hear me.
Hi, good evening, Kennedy. It's been a while.
Pretty long while, sir. Good to have you. Good to have you. Good to have you. So let me begin with you, since you are online. Let me begin with you and find out from you what your initial reaction was when you heard that government had decided to, as it were, suspend the LI that would have, made us, how this import restriction bill come into effect.
Well, I'll thank you. Good question. I would say that my immediate reaction was that this is very good news, or for that matter, victory to the common man. It is victory to that teacher, victory to that laborer, victory to the mason, victory to the one the politician called the grassroots person. Because clearly, if this particular LI was passed, it is the grassroots that would have been seriously affected by the rise in prices of goods as a result of the monopoly that would have been created by the LI. So it was a serious victory for the ordinary Ghanaian, because clearly when we rose up, myself and my colleague, Dr. Obin, vigorously fighting on this, it was not from a selfish point of view. It was for the common man, because we are on the ground daily. We interact with them. We interact with the maid. We interact with the driver. We interact with that orphan, and with that we interact with those widows. We interact with the ordinary people who struggle daily to find even just one meal. And we look at the prices of goods in the market. A box of local chicken of about 10 kilos being about 1,300 cedis. and the imported one being about 360. Whichever be the case, none is cheap, considering the level of incomes of the ordinary Ghanaian. This LI was never meant to serve the interest of any Ghanaian and will never serve the interest of any Ghanaian, because law trying to circumvent the natural workings of the invisible hand of the market has never worked to the best interest of the ordinary person. It has always worked to the interest of the modeler, the one who models such program, because it leads to a lot of corruption and rent seeking. So, Kennedy, let me say my initial comments is that this was just victory for every Ghanaian who cared to be aware of the intricacies of this LI and the repercussions that it would have bred if it came on board.
Now, coming from your position, someone would say you are not patriotic enough because the reasons allocated for the establishment of this restrictions bill or this LI to restrict imports is that, yes, we want to, first of all, bolster the national currency, that's the Ghana cedi, get it stabilized, and then two, to also improve the growth of industries in our country. Is that not a good reason enough?
Number one, the Ghana cedi to get stabilized. When the MPP took office in 2017, and then the cedi stabilized, was it LI that was in place when the cedi was stabilized and the vice president said they had locked the cedi and then taken the key away? Was it the LI that was in place? No. This has nothing to do with patriotism. We have rather been very, very seriously patriotic in this fight. We have laid let me say literally, our comfort, our convenience. Dr. Obey, myself, and many others who join us have been seriously inconvenienced in bringing to fore the repercussions that this LI would have created. Kennedy, when you go into the Ghanaian market to buy anything, you don't go looking for foreign goods, Kennedy. If you go to buy rice, you go in looking for what your money can buy. When you go in to buy maybe electrical cables, in case you are putting up a project, you go in to buy what your money can buy. If you want to buy chicken or fish, you go into what your money can buy. So you don't go deliberately saying that, oh, well, I am looking for imported chicken, so that is what I have to buy. No, it is what your money can afford. And so for me, patriotism should rather come from the leaders. The patriotism should come from the leaders by sacrificing for the benefit of the ordinary person, laying the right foundation so that clearly the ordinary person can go naturally to buy what the local products are. As we are about to celebrate Christmas, Kennedy, a 1 kilo of local chicken or 1.2 kilo of local chicken on the average is about 130 cedis. How much do you earn, Kennedy? How many local chicken can you buy for your family? So if you go into the market to buy for this Christmas, you are going to buy what your money can afford, not what you are looking for local chicken. And again, if the local chicken was cheaper, everybody will buy it. No LI will force anybody to go and buy imported one, because clearly the taste between the imported one and the local one, there's no dispute about it. The local one tastes far better than the imported one. Then when you look at many of the other products, the local one, of course, if well cured, corn, rice, if well cured, will also serve the same purpose as the imported one. So we, myself, Dr. Obi, and many of our colleagues who join us all over, Kennedy, have really fought for you, the media. We have fought for your mother. We have fought for your father. We have fought for your brothers and your sisters. And that is real patriotism, rather than to have allowed this LI to come into place. And then you now allow business people now have to queue and go to the office of the minister. And the minister looks into your face and says, no, you are NDC, you won't get it. You are MPP, but I don't like your face, so you will not get it. And then they will now begin to sell it. For instance, we are all in this country. People are able to buy votes, and we also in the recent elections, people are able to buy votes of people. People are also able to sell their votes. If votes can be sold and votes can be bought, how much more quotas? It has happened before, and the history is very clear. Economic data is very replete with the fact that quotas import restriction has never served good for any country. In any case, how has the government prepared this country for import restrictions? In the 2024 budget, the government has come out with a policy of charging carbon emissions of factories, that is, factories that manufacture locally here, carbon emissions per ton, 100 cities, and the vehicles that they also own, 100 cities. So one particular company that produces free juices or electricity company of Ghana, for instance, could pay, come 2024, over 10 million cities in terms of carbon emissions. The cement factories will fall in victim. There's no factory in this country that clearly will not fall victim because they all emit carbons. So it's going to drive the cost of these local products already high. And if you follow our argument, in fact, prior to the budget being designed, I was all over the media saying that the cost of doing business is very high. The local economy is struggling because inflation is high, disposable income of the consumer is very low, and people are not buying. People's working capital is being eroded by daily. So if you said this, and then you come out with a budget, bringing in new taxes that will burden the local industry, how patriotic can that be? More than we who are saying that save the little that is left. In any case, the local industries we are talking about, Kennedy, the chicken industry is almost 95% dead. If you want to interview chicken producers, the tomato sector, those who manufacture tomatoes, they buy the tomato puree and the tomato concentrate from China or wherever, come and package them here. Those who manufacture fruit juice, they buy from wherever and come concentrate. Many of the factories that say they are factories are literally packaging firms. So the government, because cost of manufacturing in this country is very, very high. So the beginning point of the government is to make cost of doing business very, very, very low, or not very low, but reasonably low, competitive. That's the word, competitive, so that the foreign goods can compete. And if the foreign goods are almost about the same price of the local ones, we will go in for the local ones. Myself and Dr. Bin are into business, and many others. Which businessman would like to go and travel far away in China to go and buy goods at a foreign currency, so to say the dollar, when you cannot even predict what the dollar will be tomorrow? Who will not go and buy goods just behind your house and sell? All that you are looking for is to make profit. All of us are Ghanaians, and we'll be happy to deal with locally produced goods. But we will not sacrifice the comfort of the Ghanaian. We will not sacrifice the convenience of the Ghanaian. We will not sacrifice the lives of thousands and millions of people for the parochial interests of just a few.
Right. Okay. So please stay with us, Reverend John Awuni, who is the Executive Chairman of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana. You still stick with us. Let me come in studio and find out from Dr. Obing again what your initial reaction was when you heard that government had decided to suspend the import restriction bill. And we are told that it's not completely off. The word is suspension. They want to embark on broader consultations, sensitization, and education before they table it again. What was your initial reaction when you heard that?
Yeah. I was actually expecting because the LI did not have any basis. It did not have any solution in sight. So you cannot bring an LI out of emptiness. So I know, having given our argument and having petitioned Parliament, stated our reasons for doing that, good sense will prevail. And that's what has happened. Because otherwise, you do not put restrictions ahead of the aims and objectives of the LI. We do not bring an LI that is not based on data, that we do not know what we are actually doing. We are talking about import substitution. All that import substitution means, or what the restrictions seek to do, is to make the effort to reduce importation so that we look from within and buy the same goods, especially those that have been itemized for restriction. So when we have succeeded to restrict us from buying from outside, where do we go and get the goods from to buy and sell? That have been the problem. So which one do you have to bring first? You have to bring the aims and objectives first, fund measures, the measures that will make, that will enhance on productivity. We haven't done all that. And this is what we are telling them, that we consume, we buy all the goods that are manufactured in the country. I've always said this, that that's why probably we are getting it wrong. Because manufacturing is tied up to distribution. If you produce and it's not distributed to the people, there's no distribution. So it's very important that we make the distribution very vibrant in this country. And we serve the same purpose. So whatever goods that is produced in this country, we serve as the vehicle to sell and dispose all to the final consumer and bring the shortfall of demand from outside.
Right.
Now you said that you want to reduce importation. It means that the shortfall, you are going to increase your production so that the shortfall will come down. So we also stop the importation. Meanwhile, you don't even have the basis of doing that because we don't have the figures to show.
Right.
Where you've mentioned or listed sugar, that we do not have to bring sugar. I hope you know that we don't produce 1 gram of sugar in this country as of now. I know that there's machinery. But I know that there's no production.
Right.
So when you tell us to reduce importation and then look within and buy sugar, where are we going to buy? They tell us that there are so many wholesales who full of sugar in Commander, Kaswa, or elsewhere, where I should go and buy. So where is the basis? And then we have been there before, where poultry products were restricted. The aim was to make sure that we reduce importation of those poultry products so that we shore up production of same.
Yes.
Did it happen? It didn't happen. Since 2013 that we restricted importation of poultry and all that. Because that is not the panacea. That is not the solution. And so all the things that they were talking about, the LI and all that, were just to punish us. And we are not ready to submit ourselves or subject ourselves to any license or permit or otherwise in the era of trade liberalization. It won't happen.
Right.
That's why we said that if we think that we are self-sufficient, because we want to be self-sufficient, but what is the measures that we are putting in place so that we become self-sufficient?
Right.
We refer Nigeria, that Nigeria were able to do that in the case of rice and all that. But Nigeria, before they took that decision, they have domestic production of rice of about 85%.
Right.
So they were almost there.
Which is not the same situation as us.
Okay, you are a journalist. Do you have the figures that I don't have? So if you don't have the basis to do it, why do you do it in the first place? But why don't we put our concentration on how to enhance local productivity by creating the enabling environment, by reducing taxation? We all know that we have to industrialize, but we do not have to overprice the produce of our industries. I hope you know that. Let me give you an example. If there's Liver Brothers is here,
yes.
I hope you know that. And then they have some also in Nigeria.
Right. And
then they do not buy, they do not produce here. Because first, they produce most of the items. Now, those that are produced in Nigeria is what they bring here to sell. Have you asked ourselves, why is it that the same company, one is here, one is in another country? That's the question that we have to find out and find solution. There was a factory in Tema, Avinash Industries. You know,
I know
Avinash?
Yes.
It's not functioning well, and they were supposed to produce edible oil. We visited their facility, and they told us that they have their competitor in Togo which also produce oil, and that Ghanaians buy that one because of cost effectiveness. Nothing. It's not that they do not produce quality or what, but producing here is far higher.
All right, Doc. So there are those who have the school of thought that Ghana cannot get onto the path or trajectory of growth, development, and progress if we don't take such drastic measures. Don't you agree?
And so we don't have any problem. Under trade liberalization, we are not going to submit ourselves to any permit, and that they should get it clear. So if they think that we are self-sufficient in some product, and then they want to ban it, they should ban it. I hope you understand. It's also resistance, isn't it? So if they think, because I think we don't even have the threshold to determine what a term qualifies under restriction. Is it that when we have attained 60% of local capacity of production of the volumes that we demand? We don't even have the threshold. So you are doing it out of emptiness. Is it 40% attainment of self-sufficiency, 50%, or what? So there's no basis, there's nothing, there's no foundation. And so that's why we are saying that, okay, if you give the threshold and say that, okay, when we attain, we do our best, we put the measures, done everything, and we attain about 60%, then you should know that we are going to ban the product. We don't have problem. But when you bring permit under trade liberalization era, we are not going to allow, where we have to go and queue for licenses, where somebody have to give us a quota for what we have to bring, and his discretion sometimes. And then you remember that the trade minister said that when you come and you do not get the permit, you can go to court. Did you hear that? So I'm going to court because I want to import the goods that I'm selling to support the economy. One thing that we do not even recognize that we, the same importers, the traders, we are the people who migrate into manufacturing. I'm telling you, because we trade and know the volumes, and then we migrate into manufacturing. It's not, excuse me to say, the politicians or the lawyers and all that. People who do manufacturing are as a result of trading and knowing the volumes, knowing, understanding, going to first nose machines and all that. So whatever thing that we are doing, we are also very integral part of it. But this particular one, it couldn't have it couldn't have gone through because the bases were not there. Exactly. That's why I was not surprised when they eventually removed it.
But they also say that your opposition to the LI stems from your selfishness. They say you and your members who are opposing it are selfish because you are not looking at the national interest. And the national interest is that, yes, we should show up our currency, make sure it is strong and stable, and also boost local industry.
Oh, no, they are not being fair to us. Because we do our best to service. Whatever we are doing is we are providing a service to the generation of Ghanaians. I've told you, we are the people who buy all the goods that is manufactured in the country in the first place. If the goods are there, means that we are the same people who will buy. We are saying that you say that we shouldn't import, but you are not telling us that you have the product that in question. And so what do we do? This is exactly what we are saying. So the person who is saying that, and they say that they want to shore up the forest, and that they have to make the currency strong and all that. But what? Is it by the kind of manufacturing that we do? There's a clear thin line between the importation that we do and the manufacturing, the kind of manufacturing that we do in this country. Because the manufacturers here, they also import about over 90% of their manufacturing input. So what are we going to save if they are also importing? It means that we have to look at the areas that we have comparative advantage and deliberately support them. But it's not that the tomato, let's say tomato paste. The tomato, they bring the concentrate. When they bring the concentrate, and then about 20 people are employed in the factory They say it's a manufacturing company, where they do not even add up to the value chain. You know the value chain, because it's expected when we are making a tomato factory, then we have to go to Akumadan to source the product from the growers so that we feed the industry. Is that the kind of industrialization that we're talking about, that our hands have to be tied up for that company? Where even along the sub-region, under the Continental Free Trade Area, such companies do not even qualify under the rules of origin. And yet we are protecting that company here as a manufacturing entity. Have you looked at the rules of origin? Company that actually qualifies under the Continental Free Trade, because that tomato concentrate will never be allowed in Togo or Benin because it does not qualify under the rules of origin. And all this, so we have to do it well. Are we saying that if there's a company, manufacturing company in Nigeria, Togo, elsewhere, which is doing better than Ghana, are we not going to allow it in where we have the Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat here in Ghana? So I think the whole thing have to be stopped, and then we rethink. The fact that we have to do it well is what we are talking about. Right. But the fact that people are using these emotional things, because some of them are even some of the items is just dramatic. They added mineral water,
Yes.
All this country, go to the households and see the kind of water people drink. Do we drink imported water? Is our Belakwa special ice, the Nyankotons and all that? It's dramatic. They are using this to incite the people. We know that some high class people, when they are doing some party, they bring some imported drink and all that.
And the rest.
Yes, that's just negligible. And they sell it in these supermarkets and all that. And so, is that the reference that you are talking about? We are talking about, let's take cement for instance. You know, they've taken cement out of it. Cement is the natural reference that we traders want to use. You see, we have our own Jata cement, we have our own diamond cement and gas cement, and they produce it with the quality that we like. The price is also, even though it's a bit high, it's also very affordable for Ghanaians who have been bringing this from outside. Apart from Dangote, that under the Continental Free Trade, they also have the right to bring. This is industrialization, because they have been able to produce, and Ghanaians naturally are patronizing it. Let me tell you, biscuits. Now the local manufacturers are doing it very nice, and that's about 80%. If they don't have the figures, about 80% is being patronized here. That the importers are not going out there like they used to do, because the local manufacturers of biscuits have actually improved, and then they are able to sustain the demand and the quantities that the people demand, and then even the quality, and then the affordability, and people are patronizing. This is how, if you want to do industrialization, we have to go.
Right. Okay. So you still, I'll come back to you. If Mr. Reverend Awuni is still on the line, I'm coming back to you, and I want to find out, you together with Guta said to have listed some 22 items that were captured in the LI, which we don't have the ability or capacity to produce locally. What are these, and what do you think are the challenges that is making us unable to produce these locally?
Well, I don't have ready the list, but if I can call them off head, some of them, we have rice, being number one, we have chicken, we have used clothing, automobiles, we have fish, we have sanitary pads, we have, I think, sanitizers also, and that's what I can remember. But okay, there are many. 22. I don't have the list right before me, but
so why would you say
we
don't have the capacity to produce these? Don't you think that if we invest? Yes, please.
My brother, Dr. Obin, has outlined the fact that if we have the capacity, you are a journalist, and for so many years, I've known you for a very long time. So you have the biggest. From the days that you used to participate all the time on the RISE, when I was doing RISE consultancy and launch, you followed closely when even the launch of the Ghana RISE, you were part of it, right? So clearly, if this thing was growing sustainably, it would have been so visible in the market. You see, data is one thing and another. In developing countries, data is one thing and the reality is another. Because, for instance, we keep on talking about inflation is this. But when you go into the market, you know the real inflation. When you go into the market, you know whether inflation is 10% or 20% or 30%. So the data is different and then the reality is different. If really we are producing these things well, you will find them in the market. You will find the rice in the market. You will find the chicken in the market. You will find local frozen fish in the market. You will find you have clothing industry booming well that nobody will leave the ones and go and buy the used ones. You will have brand new cars being manufactured, SUVs, and all that being manufactured in this country all over, and then the rest. Electrical cables manufactured and all over. So the capacity is real, that we lack the capacity, and that lack of capacity is not directed to only one particular government, so to say, this current government. The governments over the years have not sustainably worked at improving our agricultural system. We have always paid lip service, and that has not worked well for us. In 2001, when the late Authority-GPHA came out supporting local industry, rice and whatever, not let's push up rice, let's push up the poultry sector and all that. When Authority-GPHA left and then his predecessor, the late Akumbo, took over, the impact was not as the way Authority-GPHA, but he did his best. And then he left and another one came. Then later on, I think he left, and then Honorable Kusia Ahoy came. So it has not been sustainable. And one key area you can look at this issue of sustainability is the level at which we develop our water system. Our irrigation system is not more than 20% in this country. And over the years, it used to be 15%. Right now, I don't think there's up to 20% even. And so you cannot talk about you want to support agricultural sector, and yet your water resource, you don't have control over your water resource. The day rain doesn't come, what would you do? Then when you go to the manufacturing sector, I'll always use this example. Cable metal is produced in Tema. They buy the same material that they use to manufacture that cable metal. Worldwide, those who manufacture cables buy it, they have a common price in the world market. How come cable metal is 3 times the price of those other cables from Turkey, from India, and all that? Have you asked why that is so? Have you asked why the tomato paste can here, even though the concentrate is brought down, it is can here. It is more expensive than the one that is canned in China. Have you asked why Savannah Dry Gin and Hunters Distill Factory? I brought that Distill Factory in collaboration with South Africans, Distill South Africa, on the beach road. How come Distill is more expensive than beer? And I can go on and on most of the products. Right. The tax system is not helping us. Look at light, ECG. We are increasing light, the cost of electricity every quarter. Every quarter it goes up. Even domestic users cannot even afford that. How much more the commercial users? You see, the major issue has been the cost of the product. As Dr. Obin outlined, the cost of the product is the major constraint in all this. And government has to look at that. Our government has to look at that. Until they do that, they cannot begin to talk about demand. They want to create demand. You cannot create demand when the consumers cannot afford. I sitting down here, I cannot afford 10 kilos of local chicken at 1,300 cedis for every 7 to 8 days in my house. If I cannot afford that, can my driver afford that? Can the laborer afford that? Can the mason afford that? Can the waiter, the waitress, can the widow and widower, can they afford that? That is what we should think about. You know, economic policies, when you design the policies, you need to also factor in the people who are supposed to benefit from those policies. And look at the socio-economic impact those policies will have on those people. That is part of modeling economic policies. It's not just to model a policy and come out, you haven't examined the socio-economic impact. For instance, if we had examined the socio-economic impact of the banking crisis, collapsing the banking sector, we would have really looked at the way we did it. Because a lot of families have been broken, a lot of families have died, people have died, marriages have broken, school children have dropped out of schools. The impact has been very, very, very serious compared to the benefit. So we are saying that look at the capacity, look at what with the capacity from the cost point of view. Whatever goods Dr. Bin deals in, or I deal, or whoever deals in, the fellow will not be excited going to India or China or Turkey or anywhere to buy the goods when he can find them here. We say the exciting thing is to buy the goods in your local currency. Because this foreign currency that we buy, we don't have control over it. So we are very clear about the fact that rice doesn't have the capacity. Chicken, we don't have the capacity. For instance, if you use the chicken, for instance, how can Kennedy, how can local day-old chicken cost in the ordinary market 13 cedis, 14 cedis, and then government is selling that one to the farmers at 36 cedis? If you buy 13 cedis day-old chicken and you are now selling the final product after feeding it for 4 to 5 weeks at 130 cedis, if you buy it at 36 cedis, how much will you sell it? And in any case, we are not even producing local day-old chickens enough in this country. Most of the day-old chickens are imported. It's not shameful that your babies, they give the baby birth to the baby somewhere, and you bring the baby and come and feed in your country and call it local chicken. Is it because even sometimes the feed is not even local? So it is very far. I don't think that we are focused. It's like things that we have done before. People just come in and appear and they think that they are just reinventing the wheel. Like Dr. Bin pointed out, if you read the economic literature, in 1960, 1957, 50, 60, this thing happened. I have the daily graphic of 1957 talking about local industries.
Right.
If you come down 1972, a Champong regime, Operation Feed Yourself, where yellow corn was the one which was very common. We, at that time, who were kind of kids, we had to queue at the food distribution board. Our parents had to queue at food distribution board to get yellow corn to come and then feed us. Still the same quota system and all that, it happened at that time. Then we move fast forward. Rawlings' era, it happened. Then NDC era, it happened. President Kufuor's era, it happened. How come if these restrictions are beneficial, local industries are not booming? So that means that we have been tackling the thing from the wrong point. And I'm saying that let the politicians sit back. You see that sometimes it appears that when we enter into government, we forget about where we come from. Or when you are able to afford, you forget that there are people down the line. Because down the line, and who cannot afford. Because I sit down here, I think I can afford chicken, I can afford a meal. If I did a meal, I don't think that, in fact, so there are people who cannot even afford one meal a day. So when I enter into government or I sit in the position of authority, I forget that there are people down there. And these are the people that drove us, Dr. B and I, to speak so passionately for. It's not about our business this thing. Because in any case, if they created those monopolies, we will still buy from wherever they will sell. And we'll sell at whatever price that we will sell. And consumers have no option, but they will have to buy. But a lot of families would have been broken down, a lot of lives would have been lost, and all that. And so, like Dr. B pointed out, 95% of the manufacturing firms, so-called AGI members, are all importers. Whether it is pharmaceutical or food industry or whatever, they all import. Do the tomato manufacturers buy tomato from Akumada, or do they buy it from the tomato farmers in Iko, in Navrango? Do the fruit juices buy the mangoes or apples or whatever not? They all buy concentrates and then package it. If they let the government come back to the basics, and I think the AGI must join us and look into the face of the government and tell them the truth that the cost of manufacturing is very high in this country. That is what is killing manufacturing. That is what is killing industrialization. It is not import that is killing it. It is high cost, the electricity bills, the taxes, the water, all those utilities. That is what is killing the industry. Okay. It is not the imports. Okay. Is it import that is now causing them to come out with carbon emissions tax? The carbon emissions tax and then the vehicle tax, 100 cedis per vehicle. Assume a company owns about 100 or 500 vehicles. Times 100, look at how much that company will pay. Look at how much, if the company is emitting about 50 tons of carbon per month, or per week, look at how much they will pay times 100 cities. Is it import that is now making us to come out with such a punitive tax? If say you want to come out with that tax to order to correct, to control the environment, are you saying that all those local manufacturing sites should throw away their equipment and go and buy new ones? No. The key, AGI must look government in the face and tell them that the cost of production is what is killing industry, it's not imports. They can ban importation. AGI or local industry will still die if the consumers cannot afford what they are producing locally.
Right. Okay, so I'll come back to you. Please don't leave us yet. I'll come to you also in the studios. And when I come back to you, I would want to find out from you whether you agree with the minority's position that this bill might lead, this LI might lead to cronyism and corruption because you'll be at the discretion of the minister who would have to give you permits or quotas to. But I've also heard the minister say at another forum that there's a committee in place that will be dealing with this particular issue. So let's go for a break. This is Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television, and tonight we're taking a look at the import restriction bill, the suspension of the LI, and matters arising. We're going for a quick break. When we return, we'll continue the discussion. Please do stay with us.
Guys, now I'm tired. I'll go on a date with whoever gets here first.
Princess, really? Okay, I dey come.
Shut up!
Mame, boss, fill my tank with Super XP Ron 95.
Roll out with Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP high performance products from Goyle.
Sorry, Tony got here first, so I'm stepping with him.
Oh, cut him. Hey, go for mommy.
Choose Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP for an energizing driving experience. Always go for Goyle Super XP Ron 95. Goyle, good energy.
Goyle is good energy. Electricity, pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the high seas covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance. Oh, Ajima, tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302-246-319 or 0243-690-492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
All right, so welcome back. This is High on Port here on Metropolitan Television, and tonight we're taking a look at the import restrictions bill and the matters arising. On Thursday, 7th December 2023, the Trade Minister was supposed to lay this particular LI in Parliament. After 21 days, it would have matured into law, and that means that would have brought into effect inability to import rice, fruit juice, margarine, cement, fish, sugar, amongst others. But it says it's been suspended, and the Minister for Information came to give an explanation. He said this was to allow for broader consultations, sensitization and education. And so that's where we are at the moment, and that's what we're discussing tonight with the President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obeng, together with the Chairman of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, FABAC, Reverend John Awuni, who's joined us via Zoom. You can call and then contribute to the discussion. Indeed, the number to dial is 020-552-8353, 020-552-8353. You can call in and contribute to the discussion. Now, we're going in for some messages, and this one says, good evening, Iron Port. Please, I heard Dr. Obeng say that the bill lacked data. Please ask him to explain that. This one is from Ike in Ashaiman. Doc, this one, Abo Punoso, you described this one as lacking data, the policy as lacking data. If you can explain a bit, and then we'll move.
So what we are saying is that we should have some timelines and then roadmaps if we will do anything like that. For instance, we have to know the local capacity of production. We should know the volume of import that we do, and then the local production that we also have.
Yeah.
We have to have these bases, and then know that, okay, you import so much, and then we also produce this. This year, we want to increase production to this, and we want to also to reduce this. This is the way to go. It is the data that I'm talking about. That's why I use sugar, for instance. So if we, for instance, we have for a fact that we produce sugar at Commander as I'm speaking, and that we have them in abundance in Commander wholesale somewhere in Kaswa or anywhere, then we know that these are the figures. Then I use also the Nigerian example.
You'll come back to the Nigerian example, but let's go to the phone lines and welcome Clifford. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, my brother. How are you doing?
I'm well by His grace.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes, please go ahead.
I want to also contribute to the program because when this registration issue came up, I mean the draft bill, there was a motor cars also captured.
Yes.
And those of us dealing in cars, we stated our position very clear that the government is mistaken. Why? Because the amount of cars that even local manufacturers here produce a year is not even up to 20,000. And the data that we have now, those of us, the importers, we import more than 100,000 vehicles a year. So if you say you want to restrict importation of cars and then allow those local manufacturers to produce, then of course you are just beating about the bush. Number two, we are all aware that this was part of IMF, what do you call the conditionality. That is why the deal was suspended. So there's no way that the bill can go back to Parliament for any consideration or whatever. So whatever that Honorable Kojo Oponfoma just came to say that, oh, they suspended it and then go and deliberate with the stakeholders and all that and bring the bill back because Kufuor's government is a lieutenant government is live. Although Okonkoma is a very nice guy, you don't expect him to come out at this time to speak on these issues like this. Because a very gentleman like you, a young politician also like you, don't let lies cover your, handsomeness. Calm down, please.
Clifford, but how sure are you that it is the IMF's directive that has led to the suspension of this particular LI? Because, like you said, the Minister for Information has offered an explanation, and that explanation is the fact that, yes, they want to do broader consultations, which is in the pipeline. It doesn't mean that the suspension is off completely.
See, when you start with IMF program, right?
Say again.
When you start with this IMF program, the people that will go there for money, right? They are the very people that you also import from them. So there's no way that these IMF people will allow you to restrict the importation of this goods that we are talking about.
Right.
In any case, like the speakers have already said, how many capacity do we have to produce these commodities that we are talking about?
Great.
We don't have the capacity. So
Your point is well made, yeah.
Area. This is no go zone area, but there's something that the government just want to use it to shape the system. That they should come down, because what people are, going through this time is not this kind of news that we just want to hear. We want to hear something better that can improve the lives of people.
Great.
And not this kind of frustration and all that.
Great.
So
Thank you very much, Clifford. Your point is well made. We are grateful to you for your call. Remember, you can also call 020-552-8353. Doc, you were speaking about
I'm still talking about the data and all that.
Yes.
The caller was even speculating that the local car manufacturers produce about 20,000. No.
Yeah.
They produce, each of them produce around 300 or so. In total, you can't even have about 2,000.
You don't mean that?
No, yeah.
Is that really what?
If the car dealers were here, I was in the same platform, and that they said the meeting that they want, they say each of them will be producing around that, at least from the beginning. But what will restrain the car manufacturers? You see, when they are in Europe and the Americas and the advanced nations, nobody uses fiscal cash to go and buy any car.
Yeah.
There's a system. Yeah. The bank will buy for you, and you pay sometimes. Some of these cars, they pay about 20 years. We do not have those systems here. And so if you say that we are limiting the importation of cars into the country, what is the ordinary person going to do?
Right.
Because there are some 5 companies that are producing the cars here, and that they are not even producing the quantity that we need and at affordability.
All right. Kwesi is calling us from Sunyani. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, please shoot.
The name is Megina Kwesi.
Right.
Thank you for giving me this great opportunity to also contribute to my submission.
Yes, sir.
This issue, I want the government to hold on, because before you put restriction on importation on certain goods, you need to have those commodities being available to your people. I believe you understand what I'm saying.
I do perfectly, yes.
So, for example, if you put restriction or if you put a ban on rice, how many tons of rice do we consume in a day as Ghanaians? How many tons do we produce here in Ghana? If you go to our market, the rice that we consume, majority is from outside our boundaries, meaning we are not able to produce. Comparing Ghana to that of Nigeria, Nigerians have been able to motivate their farmers to produce the type of rice they want to consume. So they are able to put ban on it because they have rice in abundance.
Right.
Let's go to a product like sugar. How many factories do we have in Ghana that is producing sugar? We don't have. Commander Sugar Factory is have been abandoned. because we don't put our priority right, we always use certain kind of unnecessary policies, which at the end of the day affect you and I.
Right.
For example, when you come to Doma, as a country, if we are serious, we can make poultry hub in Doma because the people there, they have the experience of how to rear these poultry animals or birds.
Right.
But as a country, do we have a factory there? A factory, when the birds are grown, we can use to kill them. If you go to Dubai, they rear fowls within less than 3 months. They are able to harvest them. The machines are there to kill and process the fowl, and what a human being will do is just to operate the machines. Some of them will be packaging. But here in Ghana, we are not that.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to chop. So we always bring policy that will favor somebody to get something to consume at the end of the day.
Right.
Until that, and also to end it,
yes.
If we say we want to consume what we have, let's look at the kind of education that we have. When you go to our vocational and technical education,
yes,
what do you see there? You see that we see that our concentration is not there. So the school, it looks very, very bad. The state of the vocational and technical schools is not attractive. So every parent don't want his or her ward to go to that school. So these are the fundamentals we need to revisit back and encourage our countrymen and women to do the needful.
Thank you very much indeed,
Kwesi. If you are abandoned, then band loan.
Right.
Don't go for loan outside. Because
right. Thank you very much indeed, Kwesi, who called us all the way from Sunyai. We're grateful to you. Those were very valid points you raised there. This one says, Ken, the truth remains to be told by man. And it is this. The minister wanted to play God, his archangels, the Import Restriction Committee, and his angels, the AGI. Governance is not a joke, and he must be made to resign for being so blind and insensitive to sustenance of the livelihood of the ordinary Ghanaian. This one is coming from Ohima in Tema. Okay, so we move on to some other messages. Remember, you can also call. The number to dial is 020-552-8353. You can call and contribute to the discussion. That says, hello, I am Port. I am all for promoting local production, but I agree with Dr. Obeng. We have to prepare, set in place enough production capacity and incentives that will make local products so cheap that consumers will not opt for imported alternatives. This one is from Kwamena in Salt Pond. Thank you very much. This one says, yes, Ghana should adequately prepare before passing laws like this because the stakes are high when we do these things. Traders, consumers will suffer. Abuaji in Swami sent in this one. This one says, for me, I support government. The earlier, the better. Shall we continue to disenfranchise well-intended local companies and empower foreigners? Ban all imports and empower made in Ghana. This one is from Ajay in Accra. All right, so you can also call in and contribute to the discussion. Remember, the number is 020-552-8353, and Dr. Obeng is still in the studios. I just want to find out from you. Yes.
We are doing everything to empower foreigners.
Yes.
But our investment laws, if we revise it, can contain this excessive import that is being made by China Mall and Chinatown and all that. It's a deliberate dumping policy by the state of China.
Right.
And we've given ourselves, and they are afraid to talk to it. They bring the thousands upon thousands of containers, so the investment law should be able to contain them.
Right.
If we are very serious of this. So our economy, like he said, is in the hands of the foreigners. But he is thinking that only the importation that we do. No.
Right.
Even our cocoa, now we are discussing the lithium and all that.
Yes.
If all this gold is in the hands of the Chinese or this thing, then when we sell, the other time, you see the forest.
You come with the forex. Let's go online and come so that you're coming with the problem with the forex. Yes, I'm told we have Zakaria on the line. Good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, sir. Please shoot.
Yeah, I want to talk about agric. I want to contribute towards agric.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. I was, after my education in the north, where I went into agric at the Abrango Farm Institute. Now, those farm institutes all across the country, none of them is existing. And you know, for every country to strive hard, you have to have strong agric. Like the Reverend Abonine said, like around 1967, the farmers were doing well. The government imported tractors.
Right.
For people to come and then rent them and go and plow their farms. Now there are no tractors. How many farmers can buy a complete tractor and go and be farming? So you see, like the Reverend said, after the Nkrumah administration, Nkrumah brought the Z2 tractors, the internationals, and other David Brown tractors. After Kwame Nkrumah, the Bushia, the NLC, the National Liberation Council, they also came in, and then with the Kwame Nkrumah tractors, they continued.
Right.
Our parents had cooperative farms, which I was an operator. The UNDP came and trained us and gave us certificates. UNDP, I have those certificates. But I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything agric.
Right.
Then came Bushia. He brought Ford tractors. Bushia. He came with 4 tractors.
Yes.
Our parents bought some of them. After Bushia, then came the Imam. The Imam brought this frustrate tractors from Germany, which some of them mount 5 plows, 4 plows. Then after that, Kufo came, he brought the farm truck.
I appreciate the fact that you are giving us a chronology of events that has happened in the agri sector, but if you can just sum it up for us, because we are pressed for time, please.
Okay.
Yes.
Kufo brought farm truck. After for all these governments that came, they didn't bring tractors. And how can we farm? You see, so that is why the Northerners, some of us come to the South because there's no work for us to do. You get me?
I get
so
you.
So on agric, government should bring tractors so that farmers who need them will come and just rent for a week, for 2 weeks, and go and plow their farms, and then the tractors will come back to base waiting for another person to come and use, so that agric will thrive.
Awesome.
But if you sit down and look at Nigeria and say, Nigeria, look, I can tell you, Nigeria, they have vast lands, and their terrain, their terrain is different.
Right.
I know those places up to Chad. I know all those places.
Thank you very much indeed, Zachariah. We appreciate your time. I know you would have wished to have more time to, educate us on some of these things. But before I come to you, Doc, to wrap up with you, let's go online and find out from Reverend Awuni if FABAG is ready to meet with the, minister, because they said they are coming for broader consultations. And I'm sure definitely your team or your group will be one of the teams that they'll be meeting as far as these broader consultations are concerned. Are you prepared to meet them when they come?
We are always ready to help the government develop the economy. So in whatever way, our doors are always opened, and we have always participated in government wherever we are given opportunities since the early 2000s and then all that. I have always participated. So we have the expertise. We are just not business people. We are just not traders, but most of us are technical and consultants, and we can help them very well to do. But the whole thing about the country is that, Kennedy, is focus. We lack focus, and we are all just thinking about what we can do to benefit ourselves rather than for the country. And that is our major problem in this country.
Great. Thank you very much, Reverend John Awuni, who is Executive Chairman of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana. We are happy you obliged us this evening. We know as and when we need you, you would always grant us audience. Let me come to Dr. Obing and find out from you, put the same question to you, whether you are ready for these broader consultations when they come.
Yeah, the onus lies on us to make Ghana industrialized. You know, the trading that we do have exposed us to the world. And that when we travel to the places that we do our imports, we know what self-sufficiency and industrialization have made them prosper.
Yes.
And that if we replicate same here, it will help us. Yeah. And that if the goods are produced here abundantly, then there's no need for us to go outside to find a foreign exchange, pay duty and all that, the frustrations that we go through, you know that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Then if you have the goods, then it will better serve our interest. But you see, we have to be very serious on how we should shore up our productivity.
Yeah, sure, okay.
I went to Nigeria, because if you want to boost industrialization, you do it deliberately with a conscious effort to do that. I went to Nigeria, and their industrial enclave, they've lined up this gas pipeline, a huge one,
right,
across the length and breadth of the industrial enclave,
right,
and all the factories are tapping into this gas,
right,
and feed it into their generators, so they do not even fall on the national grid.
We have a long way to go, and our time is up.
When we do that, and then when we go for such meeting, we are also going to demand accountability of how the SM, we pay edit fund.
Our time is up.
The edit fund we pay so that we use it to support local industry.
Right.
Any import that we do, are we using the money to pay? So the importers are not made to be looked as we are the nuisance or recalcitrant traders who are causing the problem.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Joseph Obin, who is president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA. We also said thank you to Reverend John Awuni Fabak, executive chairman. And tonight we've been discussing the proposed import restrictions bill and the LI that was supposed to be laid in Parliament on the 7th. That was last Thursday, but had to be suspended for obvious reasons. They said they want to go for broader consultations. The government has denied that it was a result of pressure from the IMF that they decided to suspend it. We'd like to say thank you to our sponsors, Ghana Regional Authority, Guelph PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, and Phoenix Insurance. Remember, the show is powered by the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, GPHA. God willing, next week we shall bounce back with another wonderful edition of Iron Port. We entreat you to keep watching the rest of our programs here. And remember to watch the abridged version on Ghana Television on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Good evening. My name is Kennedy Mona. We are out for now.